Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast with hosts Amy Babinchek, James Kernan, and Carl Polachek. Produced by Kernan Consulting and for the international MSP community. We are dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. Hey everybody, welcome back to the SMB Community Podcast. This is James Kernan with Kernan Consulting, and I am back with my good friend Amy Babinchek. Hey Amy.
Hey, James. Welcome to 2025.
Yeah, exciting stuff. It's kind of hard to get back into the swing of things after shutting down over the holiday, but we're here, right?
I took the time off too, and judging by just the slow flow of email and just seemed like not a lot was going on. So I think many people did what we did and enjoyed a lot of time off at the end of December.
No travel, just shutting down, relaxing, and hit the reset button. That's for sure.
Mhm.
So I agree with you. It was very quiet. Anyway, well, hey, we got a lot to talk about today here. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the question of the week. The question of the week that came in are, what are our channel predictions for 2025? So what do you see happening here in 2025, big picture for MSPs?
I think it's going to be a huge year for MSPs, and I hope they're ready for it. Like, this is the year when AI has to become part of your MSP.
Yep. You bet.
Um, yep. And I know, you're doing stuff with M&A. That's going to be huge.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that also this is the year that we're going to really start to notice the maturing of our industry. I'm deeply involved with the NSITSP, and, we talk about professionalizing this industry, um, getting rid of those trunk slammers, or, at least making them obvious to potential clients of who's who in the zoo. In this professionalism of our industry, I think we're really going to start to see the effects of that in 2025. That's my biggest prediction.
Those are all spot on. I wish we could argue about something, but I'm going to agree with you. Um, it is an exciting year. I think speaking big picture, what I see happening is if you look back at the economic trends over the last 2 years, so 23 and 24, the economy was not our friend. It made it really challenging for our end user customers to grow and be successful, and subsequently, it challenged the MSPs. I think the economic climate's gonna get a little bit better coming into 2025, so I think that's good news for us. I really liked what you said about the maturity of the industry. And, it's time to take everything seriously. There's more risk than ever before. The stakes are higher, and, really need to, train up your team, tighten your policies and procedures, make sure that your contracts are solid. Uh, we really have to mature as MSPs and take all this seriously. And, I think it will weed out those trunk slammers. Couldn't agree with you more there. Um, the AI growth, I thought that was an interesting comment that you said. Agree wholeheartedly, but we we on this program talk about AI all the time. And this is the year for you to start using these AI tools in your practice to increase your efficiencies. Amy, just, over the holiday, I saw you did something was amazing, and I know you so well. I knew you did it in AI, but it was this model speaking about who you are and what you're doing in the industry, and I could tell that it was all AI generated, but it was phenomenal. It was really cool marketing. What was the tool you used there?
Yeah, I like to experiment with new stuff. That's that's both a that's both a positive and a negative, because I like to play with things. So So I'm a big fan of AppSumo,
Okay.
and
Yep.
yep, AppSumo is like a it's like a it's a place where new developers put their product out for one-time fees, so they can raise money to keep going. And I just so whenever they come out with something new, I just kind of poke at it and see what there is to learn. And I found this AI tool, and I bought it a couple of years ago, and it was called Video. And recently, they did a major development update, and now it's called Kuso. And Kuso has these. One of the things they added several things, but one of the things they added were these AI personas. And so they've taken real people and, did the voice recordings and mannerisms of them. And then you just can either have it generate your AI script or you give it a script and then it'll, the, the AI person will say that. And they have them in with different backgrounds, different scenarios, different genders, different types of people, different, so yeah, over the holiday season, I did experiment with those and I put a couple videos out there just to, I figured over the holiday season, not a whole lot of people would see them, but so I thought that was a good time for me to just play with it, put a few out there, see what they look like in the real world. And yeah, they are obviously AI. And actually, that doesn't bother me.
Oh, I thought it was amazing. It was really, I mean, it was so good that I messaged you right away when I saw it, and I knew it was probably over the weekend or something. It was like, "Hey, what tool did you use?" 'Cause I could see that you were having fun nerding out, and I wanted to nerd out too, so, I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure we brought that up. That was cool stuff.
Yeah, then you see a lot of the AI image generation, and I hear from some people like, "Oh, I hate the AI generation. You can always tell that it's AI." I'm like, "Hey, you can tell that it's AI. That's fine. It is, to me, it's better that it's obviously AI than trying to fake that it's AI, right?"
That one was really good. It was really good. The video was really good and what was said, the script was excellent. So, anyway, I thought that was awesome. So that's a
Yeah.
perfect example of integrating AI in your business. And there's a lot of AI features with, like Copilot, in the Microsoft stack, ChatGPT, those are cool. And then you mentioned as well a lot of M&A activity, and I see that, you know, M&A was big last year, it's gonna be even bigger this year. I just see more consolidation, in our industry. I went to a big M&A conference in the beginning of December, and that's really what the theme was, all the consolidation and the mergers going on. And, the little guys getting gobbled up, into a 10 little guy company, and all of a sudden now it's a $10 million MSP, and people are packaging that up and selling that. So, I think M&A, that's gonna be big as well.
I think that in itself is an indication of the maturing of our industry.
Mhm.
This typically happens in all sorts of industries. People go out and they start a new business, and they got a new idea of how to tweak, and they want to be a business owner, and so they create their own thing, and then a few years later along comes the mergers and the growth. And I think
Right.
this is just going to be how things are from now on in our industry, and I think that's a good thing. Hey, James, let me tell you in our audience about something else about AI. Um, because I think it's such an important thing, not only to learn, but to provide leadership on as an MSP. I put together a course. It's good. It's available for registration now, but it will start in February. It'll all be recorded, so if you don't worry if you can't make the time of the course, you'll still be able to listen to it as the recording. I'm going to do it over a period of 3 months. It'll be 7 sessions, and this is all about creating your AI services in your MSP package. We hear an awful lot about AI. You need to integrate it into your business. It's coming into all of your tools. It's, whatever. You need to i- a lot of stuff is about, you should develop agents and become a developer. Well, so many MSPs are not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But what you do need to have is leadership, right? Your customers are looking for that. Even if they haven't asked you for your input or they haven't asked you questions about AI, it's because they don't know what questions they should be asking you. So you need to provide that leadership and you need to be able to manage, monitor, and secure these AI tools that your clients are using. And I just saw a statistic that said that 90% now of small businesses are using AI tools. So even if they haven't told you or asked you about it, it's there. And if you're not managing monitoring it, you're getting yourself behind the eight ball. So we've got a course. It's going to start. Go over to thirdtier.net, get yourself signed up, and um, you're going to come out the other end of the course with an offering inside of your MSP and the ability to provide leadership to your clients in this area. And that'll be a great sales tool as well because there's a lot of people that are very, very behind on this. So it's a great way to get yourself into the leader position.
So grateful that you're gonna provide that training and, you call it leadership, I call it excellent marketing. And once how to button up all these holes in networks, when these AI tools are deployed, you need to educate your customers of, the pros and the cons of AI, and be able to show them. And I think that's what your class is gonna teach everybody. And then as educators, right, or good marketeers, those should be your marketing campaigns on social media, email, speaking events. Talk about that, be the industry leader in your community, to educate your customers and your prospects. That's gonna be good marketing. So, yeah, look up, Amy's class on thirdtier.net. Awesome. All right. Well, there's a lot of headlines out there too. I think one interesting one that we were just chatting about is looked like Apple had settled, that lawsuit. Tell me a little bit more about that because I know I'm an Android guy. You're an Apple fan.
I am. And it's caught my eye because it says $20 per device that you may have used in the last 10 years that had Siri active. That's a lot. And they put a max of 10 devices on that. Um, that's a lot for a class action lawsuit. And usually, class action lawsuit, like, fill out this form and you may get 99-cent check in the mail someday. It's not worth it, right? The lawyers take home all the money. Yeah. This one looks like it's settling out to be a little bit different. And what the settlement is for is Siri was apparently eavesdropping without notifying that was going to be the case. So, you can say to your Apple phone, "Hey Siri," and it was on by default. And so if you didn't realize that, that meant it was listening to you and you weren't aware of it. So that's what the lawsuit's about. So keep an eye out for that. I imagine there'll be something you have to submit in order to get that. But $20, that makes it worthwhile.
Device, over 10 years, that's gonna add up quick. So, yeah, check that out, that's interesting. There's also, looks like TikTok is back in the news. It kinda seems like, it was banned and then not banned, and they were talking about kind of lifting that, and it looks like, they, the deadline was supposed to be January 19th, and they're still talking about trying to put a temporary pause on that. So we'll see what ends up happening there, with what I think it's up to the Supreme Court now. So, it'll be interesting. And then I saw some headlines as well about Donald Trump talking about, he could fix TikTok, and, I don't know why they are talking about that.
That's his standard line for pretty much anything. I can fix that, but
I can fix
I can fix that. The thing with TikTok is, apparently it's pretty well settled now that it is a tool, it being used as a tool by the Chinese government. And, you know, both US intelligence and European intelligence have kind of settled on that this is what's happening. So it's getting banned not just here in the US, but in other parts of the world as well. Um, it's I guess it's a matter of national security. And so they told TikTok, like, hey, you either have to, but ByteDance is the name of the company. You either have to sell this so that Chinese government isn't an owner of it anymore, or stop doing business here. And we're seeing that come down in some other technologies too. TP-Link products were just found to have uh, um, some spyware tools built into them that track back to the government of China. And so, they're really advanced in their cyber warfare tools. And, it's TikTok lost their last battle in the courts on this. So it's either up to the politics to decide or national security. We'll see which way it does finally play out. But um, it's not just TikTok; it's other products coming out of China as well that have the same issue.
Yeah.
TP-Link is widely used in our industry.
Yeah, that's a big name out there, and, I get that, and that just makes sense. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I was never a TikTok fan right in the very beginning because it looked like a data mining tool to gather intelligence, and it's like, why would I wanna be a part of that? So, I get that. So we'll see what happens on that. It looked like they just wanted someone else to buy it, so it's not feeding all the data to the Chinese government. I get that. So we'll see. I'm sure it's not gonna disappear. Um, and then, of course, there's Microsoft's in the headlines again with, their $80 billion investment for 2025 on developing data centers specifically geared at AI. So they see that as a big market, and I read some interesting articles, but the Copilot AI revenue stream is predicted to even grow more than last year for Microsoft. So they're pumping big dollars into that and banking on that. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, you know what else is interesting about that? It's where they're putting those data centers. So for a long time, we saw the data centers, in predictable places on the West Coast and the East Coast and a little bit down in Texas, sort of where the tech industry resides. Now, with this, we're running out of electricity in those areas to be able to power these. We hear an awful lot of FUD about electric cars and, oh, there's not enough electricity to power electric cars. Well, stick a data center in your town and everybody could have houses full of electric cars and you still wouldn't draw as much power as those guys do. So it's the data centers that are sucking up all the power. But there are parts of the country that have excess power and can generate a lot more power than they're generating today even, and that's who's getting the data centers. So you're seeing them going into areas that have really invested in wind and solar power specifically, sort of those flat middle of the country areas, right? Where you get lots of sun, lots of wind, and lots of excess power from many different sources. And so that's where you've seen the new stuff going in. I know in your area, you've got several happening.
Yeah, yeah, there's half a dozen big data centers in the last few years have gone in, just south of the interstate, near Omaha, but, they're buying up these, acres and acres and acres of farmland, and in those areas, it used to be $2,000, $3,000 an acre, now it's $10,000 plus, and there's all sorts of other development kinda happening because of all these data centers going in so anyway, it certainly increased the land value in the Midwest, but couldn't agree with you more because that's exactly what's happening. They're putting these in all through the Midwest, and I always thought it was interesting, where some of these locations are going in, but They're buying and building out where the land is cheap and the power is plentiful. So
Mhm. Yep.
that that is for sure. Well, what else are you up to, Amy, here in Q1 of 25?
In February, I'm going over to Grand Rapids to speak at Microsoft 365 user group that happens out there. Um, that's just a couple hours away from me on the other side of the state, so I'm looking forward to that. Um, I don't have any other travel plans set up, um, but and that's sort of a little by design because I've got that AI course that we mentioned a few minutes ago, and I also am starting up another new product at third tier for continuing education in Intune and Defender. And we've got that underway. That kicks off this month. And part of that too is, my feeling that the reason I did this as a continuing education thing that just never ends. It's just a once a month update training on those two products, because we know that we're getting bombarded with new information constantly. It's not good enough anymore to take a class once and be done with it and think you're going to be able to keep up from now on. The level of change is too great. So we're putting out a dual product. It is a newsletter highlighting the things that updated and changed in the last month, and then also a um, training the next week, for an hour, hour and a half or so, however long it's gonna take to cover that information on how to actually do and implement that stuff and where it is. So, easy, quick way to keep up on those changes that are happening as they're just coming at us faster and faster and faster. So it's a way I felt, we can really do some good in helping folks out.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's kinda nice. I'm not traveling until March, but I've got a virtual event in, February. I've got an M&A course that I'm teaching, uh, that starts the 2nd week of February. So if anybody's interested in that, just reach out to me through the website or james@kernonconsulting.com. And then, I've got an M&A workshop down in Dallas, Texas in March, and then I've got one of our Mastermind Live events down in Dallas in March as well. So we've got that coming up, but, yeah, it's, buckle up the chin straps and get ready for 2025. It's gonna be a great year, everybody. So looking forward to it. Well, hey, Amy, thanks for being on today. Good to see you and catching up as always. I love your insights. And until next time, sayonara. The SMB Community Podcast is brought to you by Kernan Consulting, your mergers and acquisitions experts. Since 2006, we've been through over 30 transactions, and just this past year, we've been involved in over 6. So if you're interested in either buying, selling, or valuation information, please reach out. I'd love to talk with you. There's a ton of activity going on, and you can be a part of it. Reach out for more information at kernonconsulting.com.